It's spring, and you're standing in the garden center looking at a wooden box. A raised bed kit, $150 for 4 boards and some screws. Then the soil to fill it, another $150. Then the fertilizer, the irrigation line, the amendments. By the time you wheel the cart to the register, you're $300, $400, $600 deep. And the box hasn't grown a single tomato yet. And here's the part nobody mentions while you swipe your card. In 5 or 6 years, that wood will rot, and you'll start all over again. I want you to stop and think about this for a minute, because last year, Americans spent over $2 billion on raised garden beds. And there is a method that costs nothing, grows bigger harvests, waters itself, feeds itself, and gets better every single year for 20 years. It is not new. It is ancient, and the only reason you've never been shown it is that there's nothing in it to sell you. When I was a boy, an old neighbor woman on the edge of our settlement had a garden that shamed every man's in the church district. Folks would ask her secret, expecting talk of special seed or store-bought tonics. She'd just point at the corner of her yard, a great pile of rotting logs and branches she'd heaped there years before, with squash vines pouring off it like green water. "The wood does the work," she'd say. "I just plant and pick." Shh, let me tell you who I am. My name is Jacob Miller. I'm an Amish farmer out in the Holmes County settlement here in Ohio, and my wife is Rebecca. We never bought a raised bed in our lives. Couldn't see the sense in paying for a box when the ground and the wood pile were already there. And I'll be honest with you about that title straight off, the way I always am. $0 is the truth if you use what the land gives you. Logs, leaves, scraps, and clippings. If you need to buy a little topsoil for the cap, you might spend $20 or $30. That's the whole of it. And killed raised beds. On our farms it did, a long time ago. Let me show you why. Before we get into it, if you like learning the old ways of doing things, do 2 small things for me. Tap that like button down there. It helps this little channel more than you'd ever guess. And subscribe so you can keep learning right alongside Rebecca and me. That's all I'll ask. Now, let me tell you about the box they're selling you and the mound they're hiding from you. Here's how it will go. First, the raised bed's dirty secret. It's not a garden, it's a subscription. Then the grandmother's pile in Germany that started it all, and the forest science that explains why the mound gets richer every year. Then the nitrogen myth that scared folks away, and the study that killed it. Then exactly how to build your own for nothing, the year by year of what happens underground, and the number that settles the whole argument. By the end, you'll never look at a brush pile or a garden store the same way again. Stay with me now, friend. Number 1, the subscription box. Follow the money with me. A standard raised bed kit sells for $100 to $300. The soil to fill it costs another $100 or $2. Fertilizer runs $40 to $60 a season. A drip kit, $50 to $80 more. And here's what makes it the perfect product. Every piece of it is designed to need replacing. The wood rots in 5 or 6 years. The soil depletes with every harvest and every rain. The fertilizer washes out by midsummer. The average gardener spends $300 to $650 just to fill one 4x8 box, then $100 or more every spring to keep it alive. Over 10 years, one raised bed costs you $800 to $1,500. A raised bed is not a garden, friend. It is a subscription service with splinters. Number 2, the grandmother's pile. In 1962, a German botanist named Hermann Andra published a small booklet describing a technique he called Hugelkultur, mound culture. But he wasn't inventing anything. He was documenting what he'd seen as a boy in his grandmother's garden. A pile of old, woody debris in the corner of the yard that nobody watered, nobody fed, nobody tended, and the plants growing from it were taller, greener, and heavier with fruit than anything else on the property. Medieval farmers across Germany and Eastern Europe had known this for centuries. They piled fallen trees and branches into long mounds, covered them with earth, and planted into the surface. And their mounds got better with time while their work got less. They didn't have degrees. They had empty stomachs and bad land. They had simply copied the forest. Because every forest on Earth has run this exact system for 300 million years. A fallen tree becomes what ecologists call a nurse log, one of the most fertile growing surfaces in the natural world. Number 3, the wood wide web. Now here's the science that changed how I see my own soil. In 1997, ecologist Suzanne Simard at the University of British Columbia proved that beneath a forest floor, trees are connected by a vast underground network of fungal threads, mycelium, wrapping and penetrating their roots. 1 teaspoon of healthy forest soil holds miles of these filaments. Through this network, trees share water, nitrogen, phosphorus, even warning signals when insects attack. The press called it the wood wide web. And when you bury logs in a mound, you create the exact conditions for that network to move into your garden. The rotting wood becomes a scaffold for the fungi. The fungi colonize the soil, and your tomato roots plug into a living internet stretching through the whole mound, drinking from places no root could ever reach alone. That is why a mound gets more productive every year instead of less. It's not surviving, it's building infrastructure. Number 4, the myth that scared everybody. For decades, extension offices and garden forums repeated one warning: never bury wood. It steals nitrogen from your plants. It sounded scientific. It was wrong. The University of Wisconsin tested it directly. Hugel beds against control beds, measuring nitrogen all season. The Hugel beds didn't just avoid deficiency, they showed higher nitrogen than the controls. Here's the why. Fine sawdust rots by bacteria, and bacteria do gobble nitrogen. But big logs rot by fungi, and fungi are nitrogen misers. They recycle and redistribute it through the network. The myth took one truth and applied it to the wrong situation, and it kept a generation of gardeners paying for soil. And a 2024 study of buried wood sites put the numbers to it. Soil carbon 27% higher, earthworms 201% higher, ground looser by a fifth. The mound isn't stealing from your garden. It's compounding. Number 5, build it for nothing. Here's the work, start to finish. Pick full sun. Lay cardboard on the grass to smother weeds. No digging required, though a trench a foot deep buys you extra reservoir. Now the foundation. The biggest, oldest, most rotten logs you can find. The best woods, in order, are alder, apple, birch, cottonwood, maple, oak, poplar, and dry willow. And here's the secret tip. Wood that's already soft and punky, maybe white with fungal threads, is gold. It's pre-colonized and jump-starts the whole system by months. Never cedar, never black walnut or black cherry. They carry compounds that poison garden plants, and never anything treated, painted, or stained. Where do you find logs for free? After storms. From tree service crews. From your city's public works. Most municipalities give away fallen trees and chips because they pay to dump them. You're solving their problem while they solve yours. Stack the logs tight. Every air pocket is a future sinkhole. And pack the gaps with branches and twigs. Then the layer that makes or breaks you. Nitrogen-rich greens, grass clippings, fresh manure, kitchen scraps, coffee grounds. Skip this and the microbes will borrow nitrogen from your plants while the engine starts. Yellow leaves, stunted growth, and another cautionary tale on the forums. Top with leaves or straw, then cap with 6 to 10 inches of topsoil or compost. If you buy anything at all, it's that thin cap, $20 to $50 against $600 for the box. Number 6, the year-by-year miracle. Year 1, the wood is fresh. The greens fuel a warm startup, and you plant heavy feeders, squash, pumpkins, zucchini, cucumbers, tomatoes, which thrive on the heat and the first nutrient surge. You'll water this year, but less than a flatbed. Year 2, the fungal network is established. The wood core is swelling with stored rain, and most folks cut watering in half. Years 3 to 5, the magic accelerates. Soil tests show more nitrogen and phosphorus than the ground around it. Disease resistance climbs, and the earthworms have moved in by the thousand. Years 5 to 10, the logs are soft as sponge through and through, water holding at its peak, and the soil is loose, dark, and crumbly. Quality you could not buy for $1,000 because it can only be built by time and biology. Years 10 to 20, the hardwood is still slowly feeding the bed, and some folks simply mound again on top, starting a fresh 20-year cycle on a foundation of perfected soil. And one more gift of geometry. The mound has slopes, and slopes are microclimates. The south face warms fast. Tomatoes and peppers. The north face stays cool and moist. Lettuce, spinach, herbs. One mound, two climates. Number 7. The number that settles it. A 4x8 raised bed over 10 years. $800 to $1,500, and it's depleted from the day you fill it. A 4x8 mound, same decade, $0 to $50, and it improves from the day you build it. 4 raised beds, a modest backyard, run $3,000 to $6,000. 4 mounds cost a weekend of honest labor. One gardener harvested 120 pounds of cucumbers from 2 first-year beds, plus 42 full-size pumpkins. Another tracked every dollar and found the savings paid his entire seed order twice over. In year 1. The raised bed is at its best the day you buy it. The mound is at its worst the day you build it. The trajectories are opposite, and they never cross back. Now, here's where it all comes together. Cardboard on the grass, rotten hardwood stacked tight, greens in every gap, straw, and a 6-inch cap of soil. Water the first year, plant the heavy feeders, and then stand back while the wood drinks the rain. The fungi weave the web, and the ground grows richer every single year. For 20 years, for free. Now let me tell you why the garden center never mentions this. Every product on those shelves exists because the old system was abandoned. When the tractors came after 1920, fields had to be flat, so the mounds were scraped away. And when you flatten the reservoir, you need irrigation. And when you burn the wood, you need fertilizer. The industry didn't replace the mound because the mound failed. It replaced it because the mound couldn't be sold. What cannot be sold must be forgotten. So let me be straight with you about the title, the way I always am. $0. If you use storm wood, leaves, clippings, and scraps, yes. If you must buy the cap of topsoil, count $20 to $50 and no more. Killed raised beds. For anyone who builds one mound and watches it outwork the box for 3 seasons, yes. And I say that having never needed the box at all. And the method they hide, hidden not by conspiracy, but by arithmetic. There is no profit in a brush pile. Let's do the math one more time, plain. The average household spends $50 to $200 a year paying someone to haul away yard waste, the very logs and leaves that build the mound. Folks are paying to remove the ingredients of the best garden they'll ever grow, then driving to the store to buy fertility in a bag. Turn both of those around and the garden pays you. So here's what I'd have you do this week. Don't build 4 beds, build 1. Pick a sunny corner, lay the cardboard, stack what the last storm dropped, pack it with clippings, cap it, water it once. That single mound will teach you more than any book, and by next spring, you'll be planting the others. And bring the little ones in on it. Let them haul the small branches and stomp the cardboard flat. What they'll learn is worth more than the harvest, that the best things are built from what the world calls waste, and that patience outperforms purchase. Now I'd love to hear from you. Tell me down in the comments, what were you planning to spend on your garden this year, and what free material is sitting in your yard right now? Share it with the rest of us. Those old ways slip away when nobody passes them on, and I read everyone. Next time, I'll show you how we keep a whole garden fed through winter with what most folks rake to the curb, the old way. It belongs right on top of everything you learned today. Until then, look at your brush pile differently. It's not trash, it's 20 years of water, 20 years of fertility, 20 years of harvests, waiting to be activated. Bury the wood, waste nothing, and grow more than you need, so you can share the harvest with the people you love.